SubStylee has done 1 match so far. Xarnax has done 2. Nope, Xarnax has done 0. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is
I got him
Xarnax
confused
first,
with someone else. Yeah, this is his first one.
Yeah.
Yep, SubStylee, this is his second one.
Yeah, and I think SubStylee is possibly the favorite in his group. Though I hear good things about Xarnax. I haven't seen him race yet.
Oh.
Uh-oh. You having problems with the restream or no?
Just making sure everything is synced up.
Okay.
Nine seconds.
What time do you have it at?
Let's give me a moment.
Sure.
All right, we got him. Sorry, yeah, we got him at 57, 58, 9.
I'm about 3 seconds ahead.
Well, you know what to do.
Actually, it's been an issue for me the entire time. I don't have live stream yet, so I couldn't figure out how to get it set up. So,
okay.
Let me see.
You'll just have to delay yourself, I guess.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Or I can look from the restream and be 5 seconds behind or something. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so these guys both coming into the Area 1 dungeon here, and looks like SubStylee with a pretty substantial lead already. I didn't really see specifically where Xarnax fell behind there, but I know SubStylee's been working pretty hard on this, and he's got a really good PB, so I know that his game is in general pretty well optimized. So yeah, we got SubStylee finishing off the boss, Xarnax going for the kill from the bottom. Looks like he's going to have to move to the side, and he gets it on the third try there. It's
I have them at about about 12 seconds apart?
That sounds about right. I'm looking, it was like 16 getting in the tank.
It must have happened in the first dungeon, because I think they were about 3 seconds apart going into the dungeon, which is pretty substantial considering what has to be done to get to the dungeon. So it was probably just lag control.
Yeah, they were probably more than that. I bet they were more than 5 seconds apart, 5 to 10. But yeah, it looks like 14 seconds here between them. SubStylee entering Area 2.
And I think, just as a quick preview, that we might see some interesting strats in Area 7 from Sub. So I can't say for sure, but there might be a surprise or two. Alright, he's been working at some of the skips and maybe tackling it slightly differently than the way a lot of the runners have up to this point. And he may have a way to save 1 or 2 seconds.
Alright, well, I'll be on the lookout for some surprises here. So far, it seems like SubStylee's playing a pretty solid game. Xarnax, oh my goodness, just as I was about to say, Xarnax is holding his own here. He actually takes the death. Gonna have to respawn at that room. That's gonna set him back a little bit. Yeah, so fortunately that was at the beginning of the room, so that was pretty early on, and that's not going to be a major time loss rather, because he needs to lose a life somewhere anyway.
Yeah, I actually missed the death. We're saying that in the vertical room, the sort of the twisty vertical room.
Oh yeah, the beginning of that first twisty vertical room, he died
Just
really close to the door. So really not that much. I mean, maybe a couple seconds lost overtaking a more efficient death, for instance, in the dungeon area.
Yeah.
So not really a bad loss for him. He just has to remember that he's already taken that death.
Now, there isn't a death skip from Area 2 to 3. They just take the short path through the shortcut to Area 3, right?
Yeah, so these guys are going to go all the way up to the end of Area 3 before they need to take any kind of game over. So they've got a few more. They've got some lives to burn.
Yeah, I mean, Xarnax has 2 lives left, but losing a life at that point, I'd be a little worried about navigating Area 3 because that would be a horrible place to have to continue from.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to die at the beginning of Area 2, most likely Area 3 is going to be even more of a challenge for you as far as trying to get your health and stay alive.
Yeah.
Because the game is pretty generous with health drops, and speedrunners really do tend to just plow through the enemies and take damage. So sometimes you get into a situation where you just get unusually bad luck from the health drops and have just much less health than what you expect.
I would be worried in those vertical rooms with the little bomb droppers.
Yeah.
Because they take away a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens there as sub-handling the first grabby boss. What do we call this guy? I mean,
I'm gonna call him Mr. Grabby, but I don't know what his actual. I don't even know. I've heard a couple different names. I have no idea what's canonical.
According to Greenleaf?
Crabulous? Is it Crabulous?
Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, what is that thing anyway? What would you say?
I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be. It's just a made-up fantasy creature that looks like it pulls from a couple of different things.
Right.
A lot of these bosses look like, well, the ones, they're either like tech-looking or they look like they're combinations of crustaceans.
And they're probably combinations of things from other Sunsoft games from that time also.
So, but it does seem to be like sea creature oriented. It's usually like crab or something like that.
I've been writing about the tournament a little bit, and probably one of the most difficult parts I've had is actually trying to figure out how to describe that guy.
Yeah, it's tough to describe. Agree. Xarnax had a bit of a dance there, trying to get that grenade. He missed his grenade pause, had to chase him down a little bit, but he did manage to catch that boss with barely any health left. He was really down to the wire there when he finally got that grenade to connect. And so good on him for finding that spot. It is a really difficult thing to miss and then come back and find the right spot after the guy's already started moving. So
yeah, those bosses can be either exceedingly simple or equally difficult if you miss it in the very beginning.
Yes, definitely. It's a really hard boss to catch up with.
Yeah,
certainly is no fun. And the second version of that boss that we'll see later on in Area 6.
Yeah,
it's even worse. If you miss that, that's a really hard one to come back from.
Gotta be vigilant.
Yep. So SubStylee doing one of those vertical bomb dropper rooms that you're talking about. I've heard them called gumball machines, and I think that's pretty reasonable. They look like dome shaped and they drop little balls, but
gumballs,
little gumballs. But I don't like them as much as real gumball machines. I think they're probably one of the worst enemies in this game. They take a large amount of hits. There's very few enemies that take more hits than that right there. Those gumballs take 4 shots from your blaster. I think the only thing that takes more than that is the tanks I think they take 6, although you know what? I'm
Which
just kind of pulling that number. I call them tanks, but they're like little crescent-shaped mobile creatures that have a cannon.
They're the ones that shoot an arc that are on Area 3?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. They take away that much?
They take not the damage they do to you, but the number of hits that you have to shoot them to kill them is like 6, I think. It's more than the gumballs. But most everything else in the game you kill in 1 shot or 2 shots once you get the blaster upgrade.
Right. There are these flyers that you so infrequently encounter on the route that they're taking.
Something's going on Xarnax's screen. Oh, he's okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flyers that you're talking about.
They sort of shoot a volley of really quick bullets. They're usually above you, and they're difficult to avoid. They maybe shoot 3 or 4 shots at a time. They're in Area 6 if you fall, from the leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, I think, take at least 4 shots. I don't know that they take 6, though.
And I know what you're talking about. That's sort of like a mobile version of the tank that I'm talking, or like an aerial version of the tank.
Yeah, an aerial version, maybe a little more oval.
I call those albatrosses. You see them in the swimming level, and they're the same things that you'll find flying around in some of the air levels.
Yeah, not named after the albatross from Bionic Commando, though.
No, that's why I call them that, because it's exactly what it looks like. It's exactly the same shape.
Okay, I was curious about that.
Yeah. So Xarnax is in the room where it has a bunch of different enemies, including those tanks that we were talking about. He's really low on health, so I'm trying to keep an eye on his screen here. He actually picked up a couple of health drops back there, so he's better off than he was before, but he's
Oh,
been in critical health mode
yeah,
this whole time.
this is gonna be rough. He's still got another gumball machine to deal with.
Yeah, he had to dance a little bit. Oh, he's
Very,
almost low on health.
oh, I didn't even
He's almost out of
like. I
health.
thought he had made it out, but yeah,
What happened? Oh, he got hit by the... Yeah, there it is. He got hit by the gumballs that spilled.
he's really got to worry about his photophage fight now.
Yeah, he's got a couple of problems. One of the problems is that he can't take the intentional death before photophage, so he needs to play it safe
Yeah.
in the dungeon, and he needs to, you know, keep his health, keep his life, his last life up through the end of photophage. He's also got to go through 2 rather long rooms in which, if you get bad RNG or if you're not careful, you can take a lot of damage. So he may actually get back into a health crunch, even though he just got his health refilled.
This isn't the easiest place to deal with 1 life. I mean,
Yeah,
you'd like to have
exactly.
the buffer at least. But speaking of photophage, Sub just had a pretty much near perfect photophage. So he's killing Jason, throwing him off a cliff, and going to restart at Area 2, make it back to Area 1, but he's killing himself here in Area 2.
So interestingly, he had to kill himself an extra time at the end of Area 3. He didn't take an intentional death somewhere along the line. He just did it from having Jason jump out of his tank. Usually we take an intentional death somewhere else, like maybe right before the Area 2 boss. So he actually decided he was just going to take that death after photophage, that extra death.
Yeah.
So that's pretty old school right there.
Yeah, I've spoken to him a bunch about this, and he thinks, you know, somewhat highly of Xarnax, actually, but at the same time, he's a real threat to, you know, make it even to the final SubStylee. I'm pretty sure he's one of the top 5 in the world at this category. He usually posts a sub 32, like 3130 or so, and he was practicing earlier and pretty effortlessly getting 3140s. So I don't know that he feels like he needs to bust out every single like perfect strat. Though I'm sure he's not taking Xarnax lightly. But maybe little things, you know, he feels like he can be a little comfortable with and take it a little easy.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because it's Xarnax's first run, or first race in this tournament, so nobody really knows what to expect, and so, you know, maybe SubStylee's popped into his chat just to see what's going on in his streams, but even that's not really an indication of what he's going to pull out in a race, so it is sort of a big question mark at this point. But let's see how he does at Photophage. This is one of the defining moments of a Blaster Master runner's run here.
Not looking great.
Yeah, he's waiting for the next one to appear. He just gave up on that one.
It's
Lost
go
3
ahead.
so far. No, I'm just making sure we can follow what happens here.
Right.
This is going to require some dissecting.
Yeah, he got him. I mean, it wasn't fast, but I mean, it's sort of telling also when the first forms of photophage, when you let
All right,
them
there
go.
you go.
You know, like, if the last ones are a little too fast for you to get, that's understandable, but if the first couple of them, that's just sort of lack of experience, because you don't know where they're spawning from.
Right, yeah, usually when you see people having trouble with photophage, it's because they've gotten like down to the maybe halfway point or more, and they're just, you know, their position is starting to get out of sync.
Yeah.
You know, they're not like moving down enough in between each
Right.
one, or they're not going side to side fast enough so they don't, you know, get a chance to shoot the guy as soon as he appears. But yeah, if you start having trouble with like the first or second or third ones, it usually means that you just don't have a good opening sequence, and, you know, need to work on that. But I think it's just that he missed like the second or third, something like that. He missed it, and that really threw everything else off.
The first 5 or so, though, are in a line, so if you know what's coming, you really shouldn't have trouble until maybe the 6th one, right?
Yeah, maybe it's just that you have to know, it's really precise where you got to throw the grenades. And so you have to know exactly, like, I'm going to do this many grenades and then walk, you know, half a Jason length and then a few more, then one full Jason length and then a few more. It's like a certain pattern that you just got to know when to walk and when to shoot.
Well, I'm still no good at it, so I can't criticize. So we've got Sub doing the Area 5 wrap. So he's going to shift his tiles over so he can get through those little breakable blocks at the bottom of the screen. And, you know, again, this is one of those things that I'm sure has been tested ad nauseum, but there's no way to get Sophia down there and, you know, save time that way, right? I mean, Sophia can just
can't get Sophia in. Yeah, as far as we know, you can't get Sophia. there's also not really a lot of glitching that you can do with Sophia. All the good stuff happens with just Jason on his own.
I meant if you like took 3 quick deaths and you know, respawned at the beginning of Area 5, but that would cost you later after Area 5 when you want to take a death warp.
Yeah, it's also you're not going to be able to get anywhere with the tank. You'll get one more room farther down, but then there's still going to be a cutoff where you can't get past it.
No, I don't mean
there's no way the
riding
tank will fit through there.
I mean just avoiding the actual door wrap, which maybe takes like 10 seconds, you know, so it was...
Oh, I get what you're saying. If you just want to avoid the door wrap, yeah, you can do that, but that's going to be slow.
You know, I think you definitely would lose the time at the very least, because you need to take 2 extra deaths later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got, Xarnax got his hovers, he's finally making his way down into Area 4. He took him a little time, he had a little trouble, not really the best RNG that he had there. SubStylee is already up at the boss. He's taken his intentional death and at the beginning of that room outside the boss, and he actually got down pretty low on health just making his way through this corridor.
Yeah,
I think that's intentional.
He's going to have to deal with the toasters while fighting the crab, which is actually a little Game Boy, you know, at the top of the screen there.
Yep, yeah, and it's interesting. What he chose to do is leave, like, he walked past those 2 toasters, then got himself into the position with the boss, and then went back and shot them. And I think that's actually pretty smart. There's enough time to stop and shoot those before the boss activates, but you got to be really careful, because if you mess that up at all, and the boss actually starts to activate and begin to move, you get this conveyor belt effect that'll push you away from the boss, and you might not even be able to actually reach the boss if you waited too long. So that's why he went over, activated the boss first, and then went back and shot those toasters. That was probably the smarter way to do it.
You know, for those who don't watch Sub, he does. You know, I don't think that maybe he's as, you know, notorious, well known as some of the, you know, other runners of this, but he's a pretty daring racer. Like, he'll try things that are maybe, you know, not necessary. You know, he doesn't like take the safe route. So I would be scared personally of leaving any of those toasters, because I'd be fearful that I would die on the boss. But you know, he's got it down pretty well. So I had a question, Feasel, maybe you can answer. I've asked Scav this, but I don't think he was so enamored of the question. I was curious at what point, how many more sort of skips, like the, you know, the Area 4 skip, how they goes directly from Area 1 to Area 5? Mm-hmm. How many more of those would we need to find before we said that there was a category no skips like that?
Yeah, probably just one more would be enough. But right now, no death warps manages to cover that pretty well. It is a category, and people run it. It's just not all that popular.
Well, what's the only difference? You got to see more backtracking, right?
More backtracking, plus you don't skip the area.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. That's the no major skips category, basically.
Right.
It's rolled into the no death warps category. Well, we've got Xarnax making his... Oh, wait, he just took a death. I hope he's got another life here. Okay, yeah, here we go. Xarnax on his last life in the dungeon on the way to the crab boss here. Usually the players like to take that death a little bit later, like in the next room, so that they're already at full health when they're going down that final corridor. So he took it a little early. He'll have to be careful here with his health.
Yeah, this is going to be dangerous here. But he's getting some health in the corridor, so... but even so... Yeah, no, he's going to go in, I think, with about half health, so... Meanwhile, Sub is making his way through Area 6. So far, none of the ice physics seem to be tripping him up. He's being pretty efficient as Xarnax enters the boss chamber. And he's going to use an audio cue, I guess. Yep.
Remember, you're delayed on him.
Yeah.
Remember, you're ahead on him. You got to delay yourself.
Alright, sorry about that.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like he does get the skip. Or he does get the glitch, and he goes over to the correct instance of the crab boss, this one over to the left here. And what just happened there? He took a death. Did he just move to the side too much, and he bumped into the, like, the I guess it's the crab, not an enemy?
I don't know what happened. I thought, like, my brain was telling me he finished and should be taking the death warp, and now I see him going through Area 5 again.
Yeah, and he did the thing that you were talking about, taking it. Well, I mean, you were talking about doing it intentionally, but because
Yeah.
he had to continue, respawned with the tank, and he took the tank down. And I guess he doesn't know this, but if you respawn with that tank, you don't need to do this door wrap. It's actually faster.
To
Take
shoot
that
it.
tank down and shoot it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Takes 1 second to shoot it. You just drop Sophia down, you take care of those enemies on the way, and
right. The only reason we don't like taking the tank with us is because the tank sinks so slowly.
yeah,
Like Jason, you
yeah,
can swim downwards with pretty quickly.
yep,
Tank really floats slow, so it's still worth it if you already, game over and have to restart the area with the tank. It's just because it goes so slow, it makes it not worth it to intentionally.
yeah, exactly.
SubStylee just having no problems here. He made his way all the way up through that boss.
Mm-hmm.
And was on his last life, which is exactly where he wanted to be, and now he's on his way back.
I'm telling you, he's a dark horse. Like I'm sure he's probably the #1 seed in his bracket,
Sure.
or in his group. But like, I feel like a lot of people have been sort of not fixated, but they sort of see the action coming out of groups A, B, and C, because there was a little, some logistical issues, I suppose, with Group D. They don't realize that we got a sort of first-class runner in here who's going to challenge them later.
He's right now got the 3rd best time on the Japanese version. This is the what do you call the 3rd place record holder of the game.
Tertiary something or other. I don't know.
Exactly. Yes, that's what he is. So certainly not one to be underestimated. He's it's Scavenger, Dragoon, and SubStylee. So here he is. So poor Xarnax probably is not a good matchup for him, but everyone's got to play everyone in their bracket from the from the most skilled or from the most experienced to the least, really.
No, if we're assuming that Sub is going to make it anyway, it's just really, you might as well pretend he's not even in your bracket, get some practice, and then try to beat your other opponents.
Absolutely. So this bracket right here is definitely going to be Sub advancing, and it's 2 people from each group of 5 advance. So it's really a fight for who of the other 4 moves up. And Xarnax is very much still in contention for that. He's got Kha'Zix, he's got Big John, and he's got who else?
Starts with a Z. I can't remember.
Oh, it's Xanac Reverie. It's just Xanac Reverie was out of commission for a little bit. Xanac Reverie's the other guy.
Right.
In that group.
Yep.
Well, he's now fighting the crab again. Got plenty of health. He did leave the turret above the crab alive, but he had so much health that it really wasn't an issue. Finishes that crab off, and this time he is going to emerge victorious.
Properly
Let's see
employing
if he's got any extra lives. I wasn't really paying attention to his life count. He may have saved himself some extra life. Yeah, he had 1 more to go. Okay.
Even so, not the worst idea. I mean, if you die once there, it's sort of like lesson learned. Maybe I go in with a little, he probably recognizes that the race is sort of out of reach, and why not,
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You want to use this experience to really just get used to playing this game in a race context. I mean, even if for the races you're not going to win, you can still learn something from them. And there is always the chance that your opponent is going to have, a major mistake happen or a soft lock or something to set them back. So even in the ones that you don't think you're going to win, you still could win, because this is a game that's really got a lot of variability to it, and the mistakes are extremely costly. So SubStylee is going... Wait, what's he doing? Come on. He's teasing us. He changes his mind. I thought he was going for the skip. I think he thought he was going for the skip and then decided that he doesn't need to do it.
He's got a sense of humor. I mean,
you think he was just messing with us? He might have been.
Good chance. We'll interview him afterward if he'll consent.
Okay,
but I think that may have been what that was.
All right, we'll remember to ask him if he was just playing with us.
He didn't tell me that's that before, but that's like him.
Maybe, but it's also like him to go for that skip is just a matter of matter of fact, just to do it every time, and maybe he had to physically restrain himself from doing the skip and remind himself that he can't afford to mess this up.
And there was also that strat that I told you that he's been working on, and I can't read his mind or any, but maybe he's waiting until he he needs it to display it. You know, like maybe he's not giving away the strategy just yet.
Okay, well, I'm still waiting with bated breath to see what it is.
Eh, you know, it won't be that impressive, but you know, it's something new at least.
Anything new in Blaster Master? Oh, Xarnax having some real trouble at the Leap of Faith here. He was going to go with the safe strat, going high, but that Caterpillar just really got in his junk there, and he completely just almost got knocked off that ledge. Saw him doing this in practice, and he had some real problems just with that one spot, and I was hoping that wouldn't happen during the race. But it looks like he did manage to not get knocked down, so that's good.
That's one of the problem spots, though, in the run. That's, you know, it's not going to decide the entire race because it's maybe a 10, 20-second loss if you fall.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's something that consistently gives people trouble, and even the best racers. I think we saw Dragoon fall one point, but I think that was more not the Caterpillar. I think he just mistimed the jump. He was like a half second late or something.
Yep. So SubStylee just finishing the glitch there, goes in the door. Excellent. So we should talk a little bit about how that glitch works, because I don't know if we're going to have a chance to do it later. So, well, let's see. First, lava skips. He gets one. You need to just get damaged by the enemy and move across this lava here. He's got 2 more to go. These are usually pretty easy, but the skips that you saw leading up to that, there was some screen wrapping going on, and he was doing essentially the same screen wrapping that you saw in the swimming level, except here we use it to be able to go into a room you're not supposed to be in, and then cut around and use that as a shortcut to the boss dungeon. So that's what he had to do there, and he pulled it off really well. There's no hesitation. He really nailed that skip.
Xarnax dealing with the blocks a little differently. You know, going in 2 blocks as opposed to just the outer, and he did not pause it to reset the blocks.
Yep, it's he does the no pause strat, and that's perfectly acceptable. Whichever one you want to do. SubStylee doing the finishing the crab fight was on his last. No, he was not on his last life. He saved himself.
Well, he's going to take intentional deaths, so
this is a nice, easy place to take intentional deaths, so you can certainly afford to spare.
Yeah. All in all, considering how Sub has been doing, I don't think Xarnax is as far behind as he could be.
Well, he's about as far behind as you expect from somebody who came over to crab fight.
Yeah, but, you know, what I'm saying is he's going to make it through, you know, to level 7, Area 7, and if someone doesn't make it to Area 7 before his opponent finishes, you sort of just be like, you worry about his prospects for later races, but showing a certain level of confidence that, you know, may serve him better when he's facing someone who's not, like, perfected everything.
Yes, I think that basically anyone besides SubStylee in his group is going to have to really, is really going to have to watch themselves, because I do think that he knows what he's doing, and it's just going to be a matter of time before it all comes together for him. And
I think it'll be interesting to see who the second person in Group D is, because it really is just a toss-up, I feel. Kha'Zix is pretty good, I think. And I've never seen Big John, but I hear things.
He's played the game for a while, so I know he's got a lot of experience with it.
Yeah.
Oh, SubStylee. Oh, well, he didn't quite. I won't say he almost got knocked off the ceiling, but he certainly had some close calls there. Hover dropped a little bit out of reach for him.
So he's going to look to pick up a hover in the first room in Area 8, right?
Yep.
Or that descending... yeah.
Meanwhile, Xarnax making his way...
Nah, he doesn't seem to care about the hover.
Oh, there we go. He's going. Doesn't get the hover there. Well, I saw him practicing spike skip before this... the spike jump before this thing started, so I know that he's comfortable with it. He got it maybe 4 out of 5 times. So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Xarnax doing the Death Gauntlet here. Still a full level behind. He hasn't done level 7 at all yet. SubStylee does a great little spike jump there.
Yeah.
All that is just a matter of being able to skip the wall 2 trigger to allow you to get close enough to that pit to be able to jump over the spikes without falling in.
Much more difficult to do than it sounds.
It is difficult to do, and honestly, learning that, I'd say, took me more time than learning how to do the room that you're seeing SubStylee do right now.
Yeah.
The spike jump is no joke.
Which he navigates, by the way, the Hellway, as we call it here.
Yes.
He navigates it as well as you
He's,
can.
yeah,
He's
that
got
was
a lot of
great.
power going into the intestinal room.
Mm-hmm. Xarnax making his way back through Area 1. He is... Oops, he is now on his way to Area 7, and we'll get to see if he attempts any parts of the Area 7 skip, any portion of that. This is his chance to get a little bit of practice in, because he's going to have to... Well, I mean, if he wants to compete with SubStylee, he is going to have to pull out at least one of the Area 7 skips, because we know SubStylee already is quite comfortable doing those.
Yep. You can see just watching Xarnax that, like, there are little things that he does that they're not amateurish, I would say, but they're things that sort of are cleaned up when you've put in, like, 100 hours of Blast Master, like some of these runners have, or like he just fell into the water in Area 1 on the way down, which is, it doesn't lose.
Oh, that's happened to us all. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
Of
one of
course.
those things where the more time you put in, the less it happens.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of get the impression that he's more familiar with the earlier parts of the game than the later parts, which is just naturally what happens when you're learning a new speed game.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense. We've got... Yeah, go on.
Say SubStylee taking on the final boss here. He's going to go with the top right strats, so he's not going to take damage as long as he continues to mash that A button at a rate of at least 8 presses per second, which is not really all that much. It's not that fast. All of us should be able to mash that fast. But keeping it up for 30 plus seconds does take a little bit of stamina, so he seems to be doing fine with it.
Going to get about a 31:20. And I think that might be the 4th best time of the tournament, and the best time by anyone not named Dragoon or Scavenger.
I feel like we saw somebody else with a pretty solid, like a low 31 somewhere. I think someone else has a low 31.
You might be right.
I didn't. We haven't been keeping good track of this stuff, but I thought
Was
I
the
saw
name
something.
Fiesel? Is that you being modest?
I'm not sure that I had a low 31 in my race.
I think you got in the 30s, though.
I would hope I got in the 30s.
Yeah, I think you were somewhere in there.
Well, let's go see what Xarnax is going to do here.
Yeah.
In Area 7, we get to find out if he's going to attempt any kind of skippage.
Yep.
Definitely not going for the first part of the Area 7 skip. He may pull out the second part, we'll see.
To me, it doesn't make sense not to try it unless you're so unfamiliar with it that there's no chance for success. There's literally nothing to lose at this point, and it's something that you need to master if you ever want to be, up in the top tier of racers for this game. Gonna see it soon.
Yeah, pretty close. He's 2 rooms away from it. Give him the Area 7 background for a little bit of moral support.
Could just go to 4.
Yeah, let 4 get some time in the sun. I guess he's more than
chat. How much of chat knows who the boss of Area 4 is without seeing the background? More than 50%?
I bet not ever. Yeah, I bet a lot of people wouldn't know what the Area 4 boss looks like. Maybe
yeah, we've got our regulars, but those
some people.
in.
I think a lot of people have played it casually, in which case you definitely fought the Area 4 boss.
Sure. Well, in all likelihood, if you played it casually, you probably didn't beat a photophage, so you never saw beyond Area 3.
I at least beat Area 4 when I was a kid. I can't remember a lot of time spent past the crab, but everything before the crab I was at least pretty familiar with. So here he goes. Xarnax is doing the skips. Look at my boy Xarnax. There he's doing it. You can tell he doesn't quite know where the hitboxes are going to be.
He's a little unfamiliar with it, but he knows the basic idea.
He knows how to, he knows what he's doing. He's just, just a little unsure about where to jump exactly, but he's through. This is part 2 here.
Got to deal with the turret now. Don't get hit by stray shots.
Good so far.
Yeah,
Hmm?
he's
What's that?
fine.
Yeah, he looks good so far here.
Got to avoid the
Uh,
soft lock here.
right, avoiding the soft lock. He was
Good.
crouching to take less damage than you from a fall than,
And he's got it.
and he does have it. There he is. He's in. Nice job there, and he
Yeah,
has enough health
solid.
that he probably could have not taken the intentional death there, but he does have an extra life, so it doesn't matter too much. Let's see some lava
Oh,
skips. He makes the first.
second.
He does make the second. Oh, well, he doesn't make the second. What?
Yeah, it looked like he was going to get it and then
It
just
looked like
sort
he
of.
had it. Did he
Maybe
like
he went
press
back
up
up
on the D-pad?
accidentally.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It looked like he was clear, and then he suddenly was dead. Maybe he hit up.
Nah, he's going to need to die anyway.
Yeah. That's well. I mean, that's not a great place to die, but at least he had
Agreed.
extra life. And okay, goodness, he's past the third lava skip. This fourth one should be free. All you got to
He's
do
just
is
got to
hold
make
up.
sure. He's just got to make sure to set himself up properly with the boss so that it doesn't get out of control.
That's the important part at this point. Yes, that's the thing that he needs to worry about. He is doing the strats where you're up against the top of the screen. That's good. That is by
Oh, he
far the
misses it.
easiest way to fight this guy. And does he have it? Oh no.
Oh,
Well, we're in the wind here. We'll see what happens.
yeah. It's not easy to get it set up again, and you can easily die. But I think he's got it.
There we go. He's on it, and it doesn't look like he's double KOing or anything. He looks like his health is stable. So,
Now, and I'm looking at his stream. He just a little mini celebration there.
ooh,
He recognized
man,
what happened.
he's he's got it. Okay, cool,
He's
good.
smiling. He knows.
Oh no. There you go.
Yep.
You need to jump in that lava.
Made a little mistake there. I really think that people should check out Xarnax's stream because he looks like he's got a really comfortable couch that he's sitting on. I'm a little jealous. No, seriously. Like it looks like I feel like maybe 6 months to get the indent in there, and then you could just sort of settle in, bury yourself in that thing. Let's see what Sub is saying in his chat. Has he joined us yet?
I don't think he's going to join till after the whole thing's over.
Probably yes. He's practicing right now. Chris Luke agrees that the Zarn couch looks comfy. Who's using? Killen says that somebody's using a NES Max controller. They don't respect your inputs. Better than the NES disadvantage, I would say.
NES Max controller, huh? That's not a very good controller.
How many people have been racing with the U-Force in this tournament?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like I'm playing with the U-Force controller. Sometimes my runs look like that.
Have you ever played with a U-Force controller?
I have. I used a U-Force when I was a kid, but I've never tried speedrunning on it. That must be frustrating. But here we go. Area 3. No hover yet for Xarnax. Let's see. Does he get it? He does want a hover drop. He does not get it. The Flyer's trying to knock him off the ceiling,
He
but
handles it.
he handles. He barely misses it there.
Again, I would say this is a little bit of an odd race because now Xarnax is sort of showing
He's on the ceiling.
expertise at these later portions now. You know, like I almost feel like the middle of the game was where he had trouble, maybe starting at maybe from area 2 to area 6, and then he played really solidly, I feel like afterward.
Yep, true.
So that's
Well, we'll
odd.
see.
But
Well, I mean, we'll have to watch what he does in this. This is when you see the way he deals with maybe the 2 rooms after this and onward. That'll really tell you how much practice he's put on area.
you can also see that he's sort of having a little trouble like disengaging wall 2 just in regular rooms.
Yeah, exactly. It just looks like he's getting tripped up a little bit by the wall too. So he's going for the intentional death there. He's got enough health to do this. Was he trying to do the spike jump? But he
I
took
think he
4
did. I think
damage.
he couldn't disengage.
Yeah, I think it looked like he went for it a little bit, but didn't quite get it. But he's got enough health if he knows how to do this room, he's got enough health to do it.
I would have farmed a little bit beforehand.
It looks like he is farming a little bit. That's
Because he's
not a
gonna.
bad play there, just shooting a couple caterpillars there at the beginning.
Well, with the trouble that he's been having with the wall too, it's it's going to be likely that he's going to fall into some of the spikes.
Yeah, Wall 2, fighting against Wall 2, that's something that takes a bit of practice. And this is really the level where it starts to get bad. They do all this stuff with the intention that you're gonna be accidentally going down into spikes. Like this whole level is designed, or this whole room is designed, and
Do you
looks like
think?
Xarnax game overs, but continue.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that the developers intended the wall 2 to stick you into the spikes? Because they put on the right side of those little spike pits, there's the wall, so that if you were to just jump normally, you're going to hit the wall and fall into the spikes. And
Right,
I
I
always
think they
felt like
intend.
that was their intention.
Oh, that you would hit the wall and then fall in? No,
Yeah,
I
that
think
you.
that they intended for the wall 2 to knock you in.
Right, so you just think it's just throwing every possible obstacle at you?
I think it was designed around you having the spike shield upgrade, and that was one of the sequence things
Oh.
right there. Is that
Oh,
you're supposed to be forced to go down into those little two
yeah.
spike gaps
Good call.
because it's assuming that at this point you're basically going to be wall following. You're not going to be trying to
Yeah.
avoid.
Well, Xarnax just passed those little albatrosses. Like the only time in this, and like when they take this route that you're ever going to see them. There's two of them when you're taking that fall in Area 8, and you don't really have to contend with any of their shots, but they can be a real pain in the butt if you have to, because they shoot pretty continuously at you, and they're usually above you. So, and since they're moving, they're hard to kill.
Hmm.
When you played Bionic Commando as a kid, were you as shocked as I was when Hitler is like, "You damn fool," like that they could say "damn" in a game?
Oh sure, yeah. I mean that's anything that like that the sensors missed. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
surprising.
exactly. Like the butt in River City Ransom.
Well, so here we go in the last room here. Looks like he's doing fine on health. I don't think that we're going to
How many lives
too
though?
worried about a game over. I think he may be down to his last life.
Yeah,
He had some
so
trouble in that
mashing is going to be his
room.
enemy here, and whether he can control the eggs.
We'll see if those things get out of control. It's a matter of his positioning. We'll see if he knows where to stand.
My guess is he knows where to place him, but might have trouble um, mashing. So he might take hits on the second form. He's already taken one hit, so yeah, this could be bad.
Well, you can get onto the ceiling in that room for a little bit. But you'll eventually get knocked off by an enemy if you try to stay on it.
Yeah.
Even in the US version. So it looks like Xarnax was not in the right spot. He did get killed by the eggs. Hopefully he can find it this time. Hopefully he can find the spot. I usually use the floor to tell where I'm supposed to throw my grenade. He was waiting for the boss to spawn before he positions himself.
Killing correcting me that it was Master D in Bionic Commando. I don't know why I thought it was Hitler. Um,
Right. They don't even look
Thank you for
alike.
that. I guess I don't know. But Killen, what's the? It's General Kilt, right? In Bionic Commando.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Alright, so Form 1 is done. And he's going to do... I think he's going to do lower right strats. Oh, looks like he went for lower right strats and just ended up getting killed. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Now that we know that there was an intended spike shield, I don't think the Area 8 really makes great use of the item regardless, considering how we don't have it and pretty much ignore all the spikes anyway.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they were assuming you would be playing at a very high level, really. think it would have been a pretty decent deterrent.
Yeah.
Whoa,
I mean,
taken. Oh, I see what happened. He was on his last bit of health.
I guess what I'm curious about was whether they removed spikes when they decided not to put the spike shield in.
I doubt that
Like,
they did. I think this was all the deterrent that they were expecting.
so you think that they would allow you to just skip getting it? I mean,
I
because
don't know.
I remember I beat this game back in like '92. Like I went back to it like 3 years after like it, made me cry when I was younger, and I somehow, I don't remember how, but I beat it, and I had a friend who beat it pretty regularly, and we didn't have a spike shield, and it was absolutely no deterrent. Not that it wasn't difficult, but this was the American version when we had 3 continues or however many continues you have, and I just feel like, why not have a room where it's just spikes in the room and you have to walk through the spikes, but they'll kill you because you don't have enough health. That would be a deterrent. Everything else in this game is like, it blocks you off if you don't have the item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have been. You're right. I mean, you're right that this is certainly. Whoa. I don't think he meant to do that. I think there was just a little bit of
Wall
a little bit of wall too that
That's an unexpected side effect.
Well, it's that and lag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You're right that at all the other places in the game where they have an item, like you would need to glitch the game in order to skip that item. Whereas this looks like you can just skip it by good gameplay. But I don't think that they assumed that anyone would be good enough to do that. That's all. Maybe they just underestimated everyone. So
you think that they expect you to go the long way around this level?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right. I could buy it. I still would have put in a spike room if it were me. And I think it was Chris Luke in chat who astutely noticed that there is a missile upgrade, missile, whatever you call them, icon in the final room that you are able to control the tank. Is that just for posterity, so Jason can put it on his mantle or something? What is that?
I don't know.
That's like in an RPG when you get the best sword of the game in the game, like 2 seconds before you fight the boss. Looks like he's gonna finish him off here.
Yeah, I think he's in the safe spot.
Yeah, I think he's got him. Yep. Do the trees only turn green once the plutonium boss is killed?
I guess. Well, so that's 1 win for SubStylee so far, 1 win for Xarnax. I mean, sorry, 0 wins for Xarnax. Oh my gosh. 1 win for SubStylee, 0 for Xarnax. It's a best 2 out of 3 situation here, so SubStylee needs to only win 1 more. Xarnax needs to win the next 2 if he wants to take this map.
"47 minutes, but I feel like probably 10 of that was continuing over and over on Area 8.
Yeah, I agree. The Area 8 couple of continues that wasted a number of minutes there, and the dying to the crab boss or game overing at the crab boss, another several minutes added to his time.
Yeah, probably what, 3 or so minutes for that.
Right. I don't know what his PB is, but I would guess that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see a PB up here on the leaderboard. Let me just check his stream. See if I can see it.
Well, you do that. I would hazard a guess that we're not going to see that in Area 5 in the second race, so you could probably just subtract 5 or so minutes from his time automatically.
Okay. I'm not really sure. Yeah, his splits don't really show PB, so I can't really tell.
Yeah.
Or is it a PB? It is a PB. He just got a PB.
This is a PB?
By
Huh.
I think if what I'm looking at is the, I think that he just doesn't have a lot of attempts in on these splits, really.
Right. I think maybe he's just, yeah.
Now I'm looking at this. I think that he got a PB. It's hard to interpret. He's got a lot of different columns. I think that may have been PB by a minute.
So I'm going to make a bold prediction that we're going to see another PB in the second race.
Right, because you figure like he looked like he was playing at the level of someone who should be able to beat the game without continues.
He was definitely playing at a sub 40, level, I think.
Right, if you took his run and took out the game overs, I mean, you're looking at, a mid to upper 30 time, maybe 37 minutes, I would say.
I was going to say 38 to 39, but I'll defer to you for sure.
Maybe. It's hard to see. Hard to tell. Maybe we'll see in this match here.
I think I'm right at 38 and you're wrong at 37.
We'll see what he gets on this next.
Yeah. But definitely there's no way those are updated splits for him.
Or maybe he's just mostly been focusing on practice.
Mm-hmm.
And just hasn't been doing PB attempts.
I'm looking at his page right now and I see that he apparently likes Final Fantasy VIII more than the... no, he's just playing Final Fantasy VIII. I was getting a little angry for a second. Let's see.
People
knowing
like
you probably like that one better than the others.
Right.
What?
Yeah, you gotta... Blaster Master is... you gotta be dedicated to it. You can't be playing Final Fantasy.
Well, triple triad, though. I mean, in your free time, I guess. So they're starting up, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to be watching Xarnax in the opening stages just to see if there's some way to determine where he's losing time. I mean, a little bit of lag in the first room, but you really have no control over that. Let's see here. I can't really fault how he's playing the first parts of Area 1. I mean, the slightest bit clunky, but not really. I mean, he's hitting the lip of like some of the platforms. He's getting caught a little bit. I mean, he's already about 4 seconds behind Sub. Possibly even more. I always find it hard to determine when people are losing time in Area 1, more than any other area.
Yeah, it's usually a couple of culprits. The first room is generally a culprit, and lag in the third room usually are where it's coming from. Sometimes you'll see some awkward swimming, or just, bumping the ceiling a lot as you're trying to swim, but generally people lose time in the first room, or they lose time like with the bad entry into the boss dungeon door, but we're talking about fractions of a second.
Yeah.
To lose more than, a second or 2 seconds means you probably made a more serious mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even enough of level 1 to be able to lose 2 seconds of lag.
It's just such an open area.
Xarnax going for the flashing piece. Strat over there on the side. Looks like you're having a little trouble finishing those cyber skulls off. I think he may have missed some missile pickups there.
Yeah.
You normally kill 2 of those skulls, and I think I only saw him kill 1, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, did we see him employing, like, extensive missile use his first race?
He used them in Area 3, I think.
I'm sure he used some. I mean, I'm just trying to recall. I just don't remember seeing... I mean, he definitely used them on the gumball machines. But then I remember him shooting one of them. So, I'm sure he's using them. Oh, I'm being told the Super Metroid tournament started today. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Sure did. Did some matches this afternoon.
Very nice. Alright.
Oh, Xarnax dies in the swimming section. Yeah, that's tough when you're really low on life. Sometimes you run into that first Metroid there.
Speaking of Metroid.
Yeah, there it was. He tried to zip past I think he was trying to zip past that first Metroid and he ran right into it. That's, I think, what went wrong.
A lot of people die avoiding Metroids when they play these games for the first time. In both Metroid and this.
Mm-hmm.
Got Sub making his way through Area 2 now. But again, you know, this is the sort of part of commentary where we can just sort of talk about whatever, because we're going to get nothing drastically different between the racer strats in the first 3 areas, and it's rare that someone makes any sort of colossal error to like put them so far behind. Usually the fun starts at Area 5. Or the hover farm, I should say.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of tech in this. So right here, SubStylee did an upward shot at one of those caterpillars, and that's a pretty tricky move. I don't know that it really does save time, but some people find that easier than doing the horizontal shot on that caterpillar. I know Skev is a huge fan of the upward shot, so we see him doing it a bunch.
I think it's slightly showier. Like, I'm more impressed by the upper shot than the horizontal. I do the horizontal just because I'm more comfortable with it, but I feel like it's a higher level of, you know, technical skill to be able to switch the, you know, the cannon direction and sort of still be able to control and keep your calm and switch it back to horizontal when you need to.
Uh-huh. So this room right here, pretty tricky because those flyers, you don't know, up to the top, you don't know which way they're going to go. So you're sort of doing some preemptive shots and hoping that you don't fire too many bullets that end up not connecting with anything, because you really want to try to keep the lag down. And SubStylee now probably a good 30 seconds or more ahead, maybe 45 seconds ahead of Xarnax, because Xarnax did have a bit of a setback. SubStylee's had a great run so far.
And again, Xarnax is making little errors, like he's jumping on a right platform when he's supposed to be jumping on a left platform, and look, that could happen to anybody, but it's not going to happen to the people who are getting like consistent sub-32s, you know? It's just so ingrained. It's just... So there's a little inexperience, you know? I still think that, barring catastrophe, that he's going to get a sub-40, but making little errors that he probably wants to clean up before his next match.
So SubStylee here fighting this boss. He pauses in just the right spot. Just as Xarnax comes into this dungeon, SubStylee comes out of it. Now, I don't think SubStylee took an intentional death here, so that means that probably like last time, we're going to see him taking that extra death after the Area 3 boss. Xarnax, I was not watching what he did with his lives, but if it's anything like last time, I recommend that he keep his lives just in case he has accidental deaths. Yeah, hang on to him for safety.
He died on Area 1, didn't he?
Yeah, he did have a death in Area 1.
So at the very least...
Yeah, at the very least he needs to save one. Or he has one that he can...
Yeah. But certainly the cushion is not as wide.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll get the grenade pause correctly this time, because last time, you remember, he struggled but then recovered. And
once again.
Like it. Yeah.
You know, it almost looked like he wasn't even trying to get the grenade pause, because like he was standing too high. I don't know if I even saw a grenade come out. Let me look at this again on the replay.
Well, why would he stand below him then? Just to start pot-shotting him? I mean...
Oh, he did... yeah, it was too high. I see. He was... Oh, standing below is usually the best way to do it, but... for this boss, but I see what happened. He was standing too high, and his first grenade just went way above the spot where he wanted to hit. And then all the rest of his grenades, he was firing while moving, which gives you a different grenade trajectory than if you're standing still.
The distance of...
Yeah, it does, so it's a lot harder to aim, and that's why he missed with all the rest of them.
Again, that's something he can clean up in about 30 seconds once he's just, gets a save state right before the boss, and practices a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of muscle memory involved in doing that fight, so it's the kind of thing where you practice it for 30 seconds, and then try it again tomorrow, and practice it for 30 seconds, and then again the next day, and practice it for 30 seconds. You don't need to practice much, you just need to keep reminding yourself how to do it. Keep going from not remembering to get into your memory.
Yep.
So there we go, SubStylee approaching. Oh, Xarnax just entering Area 3. SubStylee approaching my favorite room in Area 3 here. And this is one where you can really tell if he's learned his strats. He does the jump to despawn the tanks. He does it maybe a little later than some people do, but he actually managed to kill some of the ceiling stuff, so I don't mind that strat at all. There's no one way to
frames. Is it like normal for you?
What's that?
I have Sub dropping some frames on his stream. Is it choppy for you or no?
It looks like it is a little choppy, maybe.
Just curious whether it was my end or whatever.
So far in this room, we sometimes see people using the vertical shot there to kill some of the turrets, some of those sprinkler turrets, but not this time. He used missiles to kill one. Xarnax in a bit of a situation here. He's taking heavy damage from these gumballs. Yeah, he's spilling the gumballs everywhere. This room, if you don't
shooting.
Well, that's the thing. He was trying with his missiles, and he shot the missiles the wrong way, and I think that he really... Oh, he's got 14 missiles left, so maybe I was wrong. It looked to me like he missed one of his missile drops. Maybe I was wrong about that.
He might just not be comfortable with it. I mean, he's trying, sure, but, like, he went, back to the blaster afterward. And he's going to lose them by the end of the stage anyway, so... Sure.
Yeah. I was just a little unsure. I didn't quite see if he got the 2 missile drops in Area 1, so that's why I wasn't sure how many he had.
So Sub in the dungeon on the way to Photophage.
Yes, Xarnax actually stopped to pick up some health there because he knows that this is an area that can really kill him.
Oh, those caterpillars.
Yeah. So Sub taking intentional damage and finishes himself off on that toaster over there. Maybe a little bit too much health to spare, but he does... Oh, wait. What's he doing? Okay, there we go. He does manage to get into the boss fight with 5 bars of health, which should plenty for him to do this. Xarnax attempting another one of the gumball rooms. He is using missiles. He's definitely trying to blast these things with missiles. He gets the second and third one just fine, and does go out of his way because he is worth his health. Even though now he's up to 5 bars, so that's pretty decent.
Yeah, no, he'll be okay health-wise.
And SubStylee with another nice, consistent Photophage fight, just like last time. That's a sign of a good player. If Photophage goes the same every time, that's a really good sign.
Yep.
And there he is taking his extra death. Some people, instead of taking this extra death here, will take a death in just before the Area 2 boss. But that's not the way SubStylee does it.
I was thinking, this game is a little bit interesting to me in that, what do you think is the last regular enemy you see? Not in Area 8, I mean the last distinct enemy that you see. For example, like those, what do you call those guys? The ninjas or whatever that you swim around and see in Area 5? I don't remember what you call them.
Whatever you want to call them. I call them the ninjas, but sure.
Right. That's fine, because I don't have a better name for them. Are those the last distinct enemy that you see?
Oh, enemy that only appears in one place?
No, I mean, like, at that point forward, every enemy that you encounter, have you encountered already?
Oh, okay. I'll have to think. Well, because the skulls. I'm sorry? Well, aren't the skulls different? Aren't they pink skulls?
I don't mean palette swaps.
Oh, okay. Totally new then. Yeah, probably. That's probably it.
Which is interesting then, because, a lot of games bust out new enemies in the final area. You get, like, the worst baddies, make their appearance for the first time there. But this game sort of throws everything at you, it's sort of top-heavy, right? And then it just finds different ways to, throw the enemies at you, different challenges using the same enemies.
Yeah, this game doesn't quite have so much variety of enemies in it. Like, a lot of enemies get reused just in completely different levels, and like they might sprite swap or palette swap them or something, but
yeah,
really the same enemy.
And then they get to reuse them in Fester's Quest also, so
yeah. I'm not sure about maybe in the overhead area in Area 7, those guys in the spacesuits. Are
Which
they
guys?
the ones that you do the lava boosts with?
Oh no, I meant in
Are
the
they
overworld.
somewhere else? Oh, you
I
mean
meant
in the
in the
overworld?
overworld.
I think
No,
those
I
may
agree
even be
with you.
used somewhere else too. I
The
just
fat
can't think of it.
robots, as I call them.
Fat robots, that's fine. Oh, SubStylee bumping the ceiling, but he still has plenty of hover. I worry the way he did that hovering, I would
Agreed.
worry about bumping the ceiling and running out of hover.
Agreed. I was a little
But
worried myself.
yeah, and in fact, maybe he's doing that just to try to manipulate that golem to
Yeah,
not
jump
jump in his
left.
face. Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's just that I always worry that I'm gonna run out of hover if I do that.
Well, yeah, I'm not skilled enough to like be able to, control the golem and make sure that I can make it. So,
Yeah, it's possible, but yeah,
yeah. Well, it's possible. We just saw it.
right. And so he is doing the key skip there. He just screen wrapped to skip the key and is now into Area 5.
Hmm.
So we're going to see some more screen wraps here. 3 of them to get by these breakable blocks.
And there are those ninjas that we were speaking of before. Those weird looking guys.
I guess you can say the same of the shells.
Yeah, the shells as well. You always got to have new enemies in the water, I suppose.
Yeah, the thing is, there's not nearly enough swimming in this game. There's very little of it. And even in the areas we skip, there's not any swimming, the one area we skip. So this is something they sure could have done more of. Like, the game started with a little bit of swimming in level 1,
Yep.
and then this is the only other place.
It's like they wanted to introduce the mechanic to show you that it's going to make an appearance later, and then they were like, we got to get this game out.
But yeah, there's a lot of things where, like, they coded in a good idea, but just they got lazy with the level design. They just, like, said, all right, we did everything once, so we're good, you know.
And there absolutely needed to be more of Jason without the tank in this game. Like
Oh,
the
yeah,
area
that
4
definitely.
idea. Like the area 4 with the key, that's a great idea, and that's a great sort of part if it wasn't skipped. And there absolutely should have been something water-wise where you had to eject from the tank, swim around with Jason, and come back around to like open a dam or something in the water.
Sure.
Like,
Well, I'm thinking that even in the dry land part, there should have been more rooms like that key room where it's like park the tank, get out, trigger a switch, go move your tank to the next room,
exactly.
then get out and do another. I mean, they could have done a whole level
So
full
much
of
with
like
that.
puzzles. Yeah, they could have had a whole bunch
So
of like
much.
rooms that were puzzles. Yeah.
Yep.
Xarnax.
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go on.
I was just noting that Xarnax was having some bad luck with a hover, and then finally one appears, and he can't seem to get it.
Yeah, I just saw that too. I was saying I bemoan like the fact that like what a sequel could have been, like if they had just had a little more time and they've already got the assets, and they
Right.
just could have refined what they had and used the engine to make more obstacles,
Well, that's the thing. They like you think, well, let's make a Blaster Master sequel, and they like put in too much. They put in new stuff. They could have just taken the same engine and made more levels, but
Yeah.
I think there's always the desire to like change things and add more to the game mechanics of the game rather than just drawing more levels to it. In this case,
why
the
not?
car.
They could have cranked out 1,000,000 of them like they did with the Mega Mans, It's like certainly Blaster Master was popular. I saw on the Nintendo Power countdown it was hanging in there for like 2 years. It had like 730 points every week, every month,
Yeah,
So
it certainly was popular, and they probably could have released a Blaster Master 2 for the NES that had,
Yeah, why not?
good, the same mechanics but better levels.
sequels for the NES rarely overhauled the mechanics. Maybe Mega Man 3 adds sliding, adds the charge shot in 4, and but for the most part, when you got a sequel, there wasn't much different. I'm trying to think like maybe
Really, I think
Mario
Mega
2 and
Man's-
3, but
I think Mega Man's the opposite. I think it's actually the opposite. Mega Man's the one example of where they really did reuse the same game engine, and well, I mean, they switched a lot with the earlier games, but for the later ones and whatnot.
no, that's what I meant. Is that like they added like a slide, but like that's the only change, Like,
Right, but most
it is
Nintendo
the
games,
same
when they made
game.
a sequel, they didn't just reuse the engine and make more levels. They decided they were going to redesign everything from the ground up every time they make a sequel. That's true for most Nintendo games. Just Mega Man's the one exception where they didn't do that.
Well, Link, they did it. I mean, I'm just off the top of my head.
Zelda,
Lolo,
that's
the
all three. I mean, both Zelda games for the NES are
No,
completely different.
No, I agree. Zelda is the example that I would say is the opposite of what I'm saying, but I'm, I don't know, like Lolo. I'm thinking, I don't know why Power Blade.
Power Blade completely different. Lolo, you might be onto something that they may have read.
Power Blade 2 was completely different. Am I just totally remembering it wrong?
Oh yeah.
Huh. All right, I'll give you that. So maybe it's just like 50-50 then. Who knows? But I mean, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, same.
Totally different. Rescue Rangers. DuckTales, wait, I don't know
Rescue
about.
Rangers was completely different?
Oh yeah, it feels really different when you play Rescue Rangers 2. DuckTales, I might give you that one.
I mean, I didn't like Rescue Rangers 2, so I beat it back in 92 or 3 or whatever, and then like never played it again. I love Rescue Rangers 1, but yeah. Anyway, the point is that Blaster Master should have had a part 2, and that would have been an amazing game in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to get back to the race. I feel bad like we've been shortchanging these runners by going off topic like this so much. So let's really try to focus on what's happening here. Xarnax coming up on Crab Boss here. Had a lot of trouble with this the last time. And I'm hoping that he's got all the kinks worked out and isn't going to die at the Crab Boss, because that's really sad. He's actually having a much better run so far despite some early setbacks.
Got a lot more energy.
Yeah, so he does do the intentional death there.
I think he's going to do it this time.
Oh yeah, it is interesting that he goes with the audio cue instead of moving down to the bottom of the screen and then back up.
Oh. He's got to be careful if he's just going to use the audio cue, because then he might end up... Oh boy.
It's easy to go a little bit too far. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Or to wait a little bit too long, rather. So he's going to take intentional death from this crab. I hope that means he knows he's got an extra life. I mean, okay, good. Because I wasn't watching what his life counter said.
Right. Yeah, I think he had one more. Now, here I have a question. Like, if you die on the crab, do you need to go back out into the horizontal hallway to clear it out before you go back into the crab?
No, I think he was just doing that because he wanted to clear those enemies out.
Oh, I was just asking. He actually did do that. Yeah.
And so, yeah, he starts pausing early this time because he really wants to make sure he doesn't miss it.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. Uh-oh.
I'm not sure what's... Oh, he did have a death to the crab. Yeah, so game over for Xarnax. SubStylee finishes off the Area 6 boss, so that's good there. This time Xarnax coming all the way back down with the tank.
Didn't do the screen wrap.
And it's smart of him to not get back in the tank, to come out and just swim, because the tank falls really slow, but Jason descends quickly. So he made the right choice there.
Another, like, all 50% of Area 5 isn't seen in this run because, you don't bring the tank down, and they don't expect you to take the Death Warp, so they expect you to somehow get back to your tank, which should have been below, right?
Right, there's some backtracking that happens normally.
But I think you go through several completely new rooms, right?
Yeah.
Because, like you said once, that they're pretty good about letting you see the other rooms, like getting a tour of the entire area at some point.
Right, most areas tend to have like a drain. There's like a way out from it that's different than the way in, that's much quicker. So once you've gotten the item in that area, you get to actually use it to help get out of the area without backtracking. And that's the case here too. You meant to, I think... Well, no, you mostly swim to get out, right? Because your tank... Well, no, you'd normally leave your tank like halfway down. So
you bring the tank as far down until you can't go up. You can't go up with the tank.
Right. So the new stuff. There's an alternative way back.
Yeah.
And that involves swimming as Jason, though, so it's not so much tank there.
No, and it goes through. You come out a pipe that I don't think we see in the.
No, we don't see it at all. We go right past it. Yeah, it's off to the left. Yeah, we go right past it. But you'll see that in the no death warps. Or rather the no, I don't know what we call it anymore, but no continues run. The 1cc run, you'll see that.
Right. And we've got Sub going to Area 7 now. I don't want to shortchange him, but, it's easy to when he's just running so smoothly and efficiently that
there's nothing. Assume it's going to go fine and just pay attention to the other screen.
where the interesting stuff is happening.
Well, to be honest, I'm much more unsure what we're gonna see on this side of the screen. So I really am boss fight. He leaves the turret alive again, but with this amount of health, that's actually a smart move.
And those turrets are not easy because their shots curve towards you, right? They sort of take like a...
Yeah, they do angled at you, yeah.
Yeah, they don't home in on you, but they sort of... I shouldn't use math terms. Yeah, they sort of just arc towards where you are. Very difficult to avoid.
Right, well, it's because they don't go directly vertically, they go to the side, and it's dependent on... I think it's dependent on which way the turret's moving.
Oh, I thought it was depending on where Jason...
Oh, do they actually aim towards you?
To.
Maybe they do home in on you. I could be wrong.
No, look, if I think something and you think something different, I trust you over me.
Well, it's always just that I never like stand around and wait to see what they're going to do. I'm usually move one direction or the other when I kill.
You should, your next race against whoever it is, you should just stand there and see what they do.
See what happens. Yeah, I should do that. Well, we have SubStylee in Area 7. He's going to go to the right instead of to the left. Not going to bother doing that first skip, even though I know that it's something he's familiar with, considering he has a 3019 PB. I don't know if that was an intentional death for him in this room.
I agreed. I don't know that he did. You know, as I'm 5 seconds ahead, I was loath to say anything about it, but yeah, I thought that must have been an accidental death.
I'm thinking that may have been, because that's one of those rooms where if you don't get killed in it, you might end up gaining enough health that you refill yourself. And he is getting the health refill here now that he doesn't need it anymore.
It's also just an unusual... Nobody dies in that room. So it's like... It just seems like something has gone wrong if you die there.
Yeah, I've seen people die in that room. Generally, it's not very common, though. It doesn't happen much. But generally, it's because you took a lot of damage in Area 2 and maybe the second room of Area 7. There's some damage that you take in that room.
Wasn't so forthcoming with the health drops.
Yeah, that's the thing. You are relying on health drops.
Yeah. And we've got Xarnax coming up on the Leap of Faith.
This whole section here, I know he was a little uncomfortable with. I was watching him practice, and he was just a little bit worried about getting knocked off. See, like right here, you see him going high up there, and you don't need to do that. You can boost through that mine. It's just that if you're not comfortable with doing it, you're going to end up, any amount of hesitation, you could end up falling down into the pit. And right here, he does take out the caterpillar, and he goes the high road over the Leap of Faith. Yep. He doesn't do that risky jump. Which
is fine.
I think that's perfectly acceptable for a race to do that. It's just, last time we saw him have some real trouble with the caterpillar when he tried it. So SubStylee, he did the runoff for the first one instead of the crawl off, which means he doesn't mind taking a little bit of extra damage. And he pauses and unpauses right there by the door. That's what you need to get back in bounds. So great skip by SubStylee, very little hesitation.
But 0 lives left, right? So he's got to make sure he's got these lava skips,
I didn't see where his other death was. Oh, it was in that room that we were talking about.
That he died in, yeah.
Yeah, that long hallway. Yep. So yeah, he doesn't have any more.
Yeah, he better get these skips then.
Yeah, right. So he did get the third skip. That's good.
Yeah.
Fourth one should be fine. The only concern is the frog boss. Really.
So he's got it. Setting himself up for the frog.
Oh, he doesn't find the spot. This is pretty unusual.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say. And he's got no lives left.
Yeah, so he's actually in the danger zone here. And let's see. Yeah, he had a shot. He had another shot at that crab at that frog, and he missed it. Not all of these. Ooh, don't watch the fire. Oh, he's dead now.
Oh my god. Ah!
He's dead now. That's it for him. Continue.
All right.
Is he going to go for the skip? Let's see it. He is. No, you're messing with my mind, SubStylee.
That time I don't know whether he was messing with us, but like he was turning back and forth.
No, that truly looked like indecision to me that time.
Yeah. But
what? Yeah, so he decides. I think at that point maybe he was I don't know, maybe he's asking his chat, maybe he's looking at Xarnax's stream, maybe he's looking at the restream. I bet he wanted to find out where Xarnax was before deciding if he wanted to do the skip.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if Sub is one of those who doesn't like to know where his opponent is.
In this game, when you're racing it, I think it really helps. If you're racing this game one-on-one, I think it's extremely helpful to know where your opponent is.
Well, I'm
particularly
checking his
in Area
chat
7.
right now, and he's definitely not being instructed on where his opponent is.
Okay, alright. So he may have been looking at a stream, or maybe just thinking about it. Maybe he just had to decide. So Xarnax gets the pause from the bottom. That's a tough... Oh, see, that's what I was thinking was going to happen. That's the problem with doing the bottom strats against this version of the boss. It shoots a lot more projectiles, including those giant fireball clumps. And those things, gotta watch out. Again, he's going from the bottom. This boss, you really gotta fight it from the side. At least for the grenade pause. There we go. He finally gets a nice clean shot on the thing.
Yeah, and those who've watched these races before know that if you pause it while you're shooting the boss, he takes continuous damage. But if you're being shot while it's paused, the same thing happens to you, and you better unpause it real quick or you're gonna die.
Right, and that time he wasn't taking damage from the boss when he paused it. It's just that he paused it with the fireball, like, just right above him, so that the moment he unpaused, it hit him.
Yeah, so there was no avoiding it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe there was, but it certainly was not easy. And SubStylee does go for the second skip and make it.
And is this race notable for the fact that we haven't even had 1 second of ghosting on the Area 6 boss?
I'm trying to think if we've seen any. I don't think we've seen any in this race so far, or in either of these races so far. Yeah, typically we have seen a little bit of zombie in almost every...
When I say ghost, yeah, zombieing. Maybe we should just really quickly explain what that is. That boss has a little issue after you kill him sometimes.
Okay, so yeah, what happens is sometimes, because of lag, the game will miss the trigger for the boss being dead. Like, the hit points will reach 0 and the boss won't be considered dead. And so the boss will be alive for a while, and eventually, after maybe about 10 seconds or more, the boss will, float around the room, eventually make it back to the start, and finally die. And other times sometimes you can try to like stop the boss from zombieing by pausing the game or firing a few grenades, something to generate lag, and sometimes that breaks him out of it. But it's generally really hard to bust out of zombie mode consistently once you're in it. So you just try to avoid it.
Now, what differentiates that boss, I feel, from maybe some of the others, is that his arms seem like they're a completely different graphic, or a different, like, just not part of the same graphic as the shell is. And those arms sort of have a lot of little sort of, parts to them, and they move around pretty erratically and quickly, and are those the things that are causing the lag?
Well, that's a bunch of things. I mean, yeah, all the arm segments, but also it fires a bunch of projectiles.
Yeah,
plus, your grenade itself has a lot of animation to it, so your grenade is causing a lot of lag. And if you have multiple grenades detonating at once, that's going to be even more lag. So it's really just a matter of, like, if you could do that boss with one pause of the grenade, you probably would never get zombie.
I guess what I was asking was, when the arms are sort of retracted and inside of him, are they still present on the screen?
I think so.
So no matter what, they're, the full brunt of their presence is going to be there,
sure.
lag-wise. Okay.
Yeah, sure. It's just that on top of that, grenade shots from you plus projectiles from the boss. And that boss not only has regular bullets, it's also got those giant, like, clumps, giant fireballs. Yeah, those egg sacks that he throws. So those, multiple sprites each. So there's just a lot of things going on in the boss fight. That's why it's generally pretty compared to the other incarnation of.
And I feel like most races we've seen somebody maybe lose 2 seconds to the zombieing, but no zombieing whatsoever today. So
no, not today.
Yep, and Sub is almost at Area 8. He had no problem sticking into the wall. We haven't seen anybody drop off the wall yet either, but that's also something that costs a lot of the racers time. They get hit by one of the sign flyers, and
Well, don't say
Anytime you
that.
get by an enemy, you get
Yeah,
disengaged.
wait till Xarnax gets past it.
Well,
Okay.
we're 3 for 4 so far.
Yeah, okay, he's fine. I was just worried we're gonna jinx him. Because he was just about to approach that part and he didn't have any hover, so...
No. We do have the power and commentary to alter, you know, the
can alter
trajectory of
reality.
these races. So do you think he's going to go for the first skip? It looks like he's going left.
Xarnax, is he?
Good for him.
Yeah, that's good. I
Good
wanted
for
to see
him.
this. Alright, so here we go. We didn't get to see this at all in this race. Alright, not off to a good start here, but what we gotta do is wrap 6 times at this door. So he's gonna try this door wrap.
3 or 2. That's 3.
I can't count here. There's he's working on it. There's 3.
I can't count past 5 anyway, so
4. Come on. 5.
now the hard part.
There's 5. Okay, now the hard part is this one. He's gonna have to wrap around to the left side of the screen, and now he's gonna have to do one more screen.
Do you keep
Jason's
your eye on the left side of the screen or on the right and then quickly switch to the left side?
I use a different setup where I come to a halt and I crouch to move up against the door without entering it, and then I start my wrap from a standstill. So I don't use a visual.
Now he's got to avoid a soft lock.
Yeah, so here what he has to do is go... Oh, he did have it. Yeah, he fell too far. So right there what you need to do... The nice thing is he gets to try it again if you want. But what you need to do is, you know, move a little bit to the right, which triggers you to fall, and then immediately move back left.
What's
and
he
there's
doing?
like I think he's just not sure what to do. I think he's just messing around. Well, he's taking a death because he knows that he's gonna want his health back, or his lives back rather. Let's see if he tries it again though. He's trying it again.
Oh, by the way, Sub just is now finishing the game.
By the way, so I'm just fighting the final boss here. Yep, he's doing the same strats. He's got full health. He's really in good shape. I don't see any way that he could lose this fight at this point. So meanwhile, Xarnax coming back for the screen wraps.
Yep. And not to give Sub short shrift, I mean, I think we all recognize that he's sort of a force in the tournament, and it's a shame that we haven't had more opportunity to say, you know, just how good he is. I mean, 35 is he's probably kicking himself because I don't know that I've ever seen that. But this is what happens when you have to continue and go through an area more than once. So he would have had a 32.
Yeah, so SubStylee probably not going to be too happy with that time. Had a game over at the Frog, which sent them all the way back to the beginning of Area 7, so... You know, it's hard to get a good time when that happens to you. I'm sure he wasn't too happy, but he is a runner we're going to be seeing a lot more of. He's got at least 2 more matches. He's got 2 more matches in the round robin, and I think at this point it's pretty safe to say he will be moving on to the second round, or the second stage of the tournament where we do bracket style.
He only needs to win one of the last 2, and even if he... I'm not... This is the group where I feel like we could see a lot of people with just 2 wins, you know?
Yeah.
So...
So yeah, he probably needs 3 wins. Yeah, he probably needs 3 wins. So he's got to win one of his next 2 matches. But just given the way he's playing, I don't see it. I don't see that being too difficult.
Exactly.
So yeah, we will see a lot more SubStylee, and he's really going to get his chance to shine once we reach part 2 of this tournament.
Sometimes when you're like crafting the narrative of an entire tournament, like people do so well in the beginning that there's nothing to say about them because their story's not really told until later in the tournament. And I think that's probably the case for Sub.
Well, yeah, and Kha'Zix did give him a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a fight in the one match that he's done already in this tournament before today.
Yep.
But really, I think it's when we start to see SubStylee pitted against Dragoon or Scavenger or something like that we're really going to see. You know, we're really going to see him playing at his top of his game, you know, doing all the skips, and we'll really see what he's made of at that point.
Yep. You know, I like that Xarnax went for the skip. At the same time, I wanted him to get his PB, you know? And, you know, failing the skip, you lose a lot of time. And, you know, I would have liked to see him get a sub 40. I think he can do it.
Yeah, he certainly seems like a player that's due for PB.
And he's got a comfortable couch, so it's definitely not physical discomfort that's causing him, you know, to mess up the skip. Ooh.
So Sub's saying that he was on PB pace in this first run. Wait, 10:35. Yeah, that was his first run.
He had the 31:20 in that one, right?
Yeah.
And where did he even lose any time in that run? Like, I feel like that was, you know, pretty elite run.
He didn't do skip 1.
Didn't do the skip.
He didn't do the first skip, so that right there is going to be, 45 to 60 seconds.
Ooh, so he could have had very close to 30 minutes, huh?
Yeah, and he's saying that his hover wasn't so great, and was keeping him from PBing in that one. His PB is a 30:19, so pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, he probably would have been off by like 5 or 6 seconds on that.
All right, so Xarnax trying again. He had a bit of a soft lock issue. Had to reset his game and start from the beginning. Oh, he went too far. Let's hope he knows to pause. He does. Okay, so that was an interesting thing there. Why didn't he just walk back through the door? Why did he pause and undo all of the work that he did wrapping the screen the previous 5 times? And the answer is, if you try to wrap back through that door, if you go through the door and try to walk back through it, because you've wrapped so many times, you've shifted all the hitboxes over far enough that you'll go through that door and come out the other side still in the same room and stuck inside a wall. And that actually will cause you to get stuck in that wall permanently. You'll be soft locked. So he actually had to pause and unpause to undo all of the screen wrapping that he had done.
Saved his life.
Yep. And so there we go. Xarnax on his last one here. I didn't see where I think he missed it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I think he missed it a little bit on the too early side. That's really unusual to see somebody die at that spot on the wall. Usually you see somebody fall too far and die at the bottom of the screen.
It's, unless you're really experienced with these skips, it's especially stressful to have to go through the wall on the left and end up on the right, because your brain's telling you I shouldn't be here. This is unnatural. So it's not easy to orient yourself first off, and then secondly to land in exactly that little invisible platform that's not inside of the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also always a little tricky when you wrap around, because normally there's some continuity to your character. Your character moves, you see where he is now, you know where he's going to be next few frames, and when the character wraps around, you got to move your eyes, and that kind of causes a bit of a disruption in your following of your character. So I don't know. That's why I find the 6th wrap of that skip, the 6th time you have to do the screen wrap, that's when you do it on the other side of the screen, and that always throws me off. As I'm walking up to it, suddenly Jason wraps around to the other side, and it kind of loses all of the smoothness of the motion that I was using to time things. And he is essentially running into that same situation in reverse, at that spot that he died in. Going back from the right to the left again.
Yep. No.
Or sorry, from the left to the right again, rather.
Yeah, of course. Best that he gets the practice in, though.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to keep going, because certainly if you want to be player, I won't even say at the highest level of competition, just at the level of competition in this tournament, of what people are doing in this tournament, almost everybody is going for at least the skip that, well, not the part that Xarnax is doing right now, but the second part of the skip. Almost everyone is doing that skip. So you at least have to be comfortable with that. And this first part of the skip is starting to become, as people get more and more familiar, and people are starting to see how many other people are pulling that strategy out in the races, I think more and more people are in this tournament are learning that strat and trying to become comfortable with it.
No, it's vital. I mean, it's going to be like the Area 5. You got to do it.
Yeah, and I feel like once we get into the top 8, everyone's going to be doing it every time.
Yep.
Because you're going to have to. But even in this round robin, we started out and we saw Shining Dragoon, was not even doing that first part of the skip. And now I think that so many people have demonstrated that even though they're new to the game, they can do the full Area 7 skip, including the first part of it. And that's kind of making everyone else sort of realize that they're going to need to learn that, even if they didn't think they were going to, that they wanted to. Now they have to.
Think we'll see any Area 2 to Area 7 skips when we get to the finals? Just someone bypassing the entire game?
2 to 7.
Yeah. I mean, 2 is connected to 7. If they can find a screen wrap, from 2 to 7, who knows? Get like an 11-minute run in there?
I mean, if you're going to go for something that crazy, why not just go to 8? 2 to 8.
Why not just load up the ending from your save state and just play that?
Do a New Game Plus tournament.
Yeah,
just reset your game after beating all the other bosses except the last one.
Oh, that's really the strat right there.
Oh, Xarnax shot a little bit too far, so he has to
reset.
Yeah, pause and unpause to undo those. That happens. We all do that. Shoot one too many bullets. It happens.
How many people do you think are just shooting horizontally before they learn that they can wall stick and then shoot up and down?
It's a really non-obvious thing. I think
I agree.
The way they intended for you to do that. Right. Yeah, it makes the room trivial. And it's not something that's a glitch. It's just like, oh, you have to realize, hey, I can actually climb up the wall and suddenly now I can shoot up and down. I'm not forced to only shoot left and right.
I'm sure the developers knew that you could do it, but they designed it so you don't have to do it. So it makes me a little curious.
Yeah, well, it makes me think that they weren't assuming that players were going to figure that out. Because, the way that room works is it's sort of like a block of Swiss cheese. There's all these little holes in it all over the place. And the whole strategy of it is you're supposed to, normally your tank can't shoot downward. So the strategy of it all is being able to use those little Swiss cheese holes to like drop down a bit.
We might have Sub jumping into commentary.
In here now?
I think he's struggling a little bit. He should be here soon. What was I going to say about the Swiss cheese room again? What was I going to say about it? I thought I had some cogent sort of interesting point to make, but maybe I'll remember it soon.
Oh, sorry. I see him. He's in here now. Do you hear us currently? Hello?
See what he's saying here. Yeah, he's here. Yeah.
Alright, we'll get him in here in a moment. We want to have a word with the winner of our match, SubStylee.
We want to see if he was messing with us or not. So while we're waiting for him, I think the point that I was going to make was that would have been a good opportunity for the developers to give us a learning opportunity, I suppose.
This falls in. This make me nervous. He's done so well so far.
The lava skips.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he did great in Area 8 or Area 7.
Oh boy!
Now he's on his last life. Well, don't spoil it. And he's in. He just dunks right in there.
No, I'm watching it on the restream, so I should be behind.
Oh, well, okay. But yeah, he just got a little eager there, and I think he just went too soon.
That's what you thought I was ruining. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, so we're hearing the beeping, but SubStylee is not here yet?
Yeah, Sub's working on it. He's trying to get his audio configured.
Clicking on everything until we hear him. Come on, Sub, we gotta get your name out there. Trying to reset?
Yeah, he's gonna restart it. Okay, so Xarnax. Oh, once again, he's got to do a little pause there. That's the nice thing, and that's something that I wish they told you in the manual, because I didn't have that figured out as a kid. Like, I thought that if you screwed that room up, you had to leave the room and come back. Because it looks like you're just stuck, but you can pause and unpause to make all the blocks come back.
Sorry. As always, I am having a problem with my dog, my little puppy, who doesn't ever want me to commentate a full race without being a pain in the ass. But now she's being good, right? Yeah. Still waiting on Sub?
Yep, he's just having to restart. Well, Xarnax making his way back through Area 7. Tenacity here. He does not want to give this up. So
Hello?
I don't blame him. Hey, how you doing?
Pretty
Who's that?
good. How you guys doing?
Great.
Who is this?
It's Sub.
Were you invited?
I thought I was invited.
Oh, you're always invited.
Oh, thanks, man.
So, tell us what happened. Let's start with the second race.
Oh, of course. I knew you were going to go straight to that second race, dude.
Tell us when you really messed it all up.
Well, you know, it was going pretty good until I went into the vertical room to go to Area 2, and then I got sniped and got lagged out. And then the game decided, you know, you had it too good of a race, let's have some fun. Like, when I was doing the hover, when I was going for the last one, you know, like a bunch of them just spawn at the same time, and it just ate my jump input. It just lagged. So I obviously died there. And then, what was the other mistakes I made? Then I messed up the frog. I haven't done that in a long time.
You did die to the frog.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. It's been a couple weeks.
I don't think you did anything right that second race, actually.
You know,
Oh, no.
I have to agree. It was pretty garbage. I'm embarrassed, and I should, you know, turn in my driving license.
You've been eliminated, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So,
No, but oh no, go ahead, Fiesel.
well, we had a couple of questions queued up for you that we wanted to make sure to ask. So,
Alright, go for it.
for one thing, okay, when you were going for this skip in Area 7, the first part of the Area 7 skip, like in the first race, it looked like you were trying to decide if you wanted to do it or not. Or maybe you were just playing with us? Like, what were you...
I was just playing with you guys because I know every time someone doesn't go for the hover on the way back, you're like, well, I'm assuming they're going to go for it. So I just went there to kind of psych you out. Then I was trying to make my tank shake its head no, but that didn't happen.
I suspected that, but you know, for the second race, I really don't know. After you game over and restarted that, I know that there's like a part of you that was thinking, man, if Xarnax is not as far behind as I thought, then I'm going to be in trouble if I don't do this.
Which very true.
Frog, by the way.
What was that?
The frog is really being a thorn in the side of you guys today.
I know it sure is, but Xarnax looks like he's got it down now. He just defeated the frog, so
Nice.
that was a major sticking point for him. He's past that, and he's now going to be... There's not much that can go wrong for him now.
Yeah. And so, just to get it straight, Sub, you were messing with us the first time, which we suspected, but the second time was...
I was debating. I was very much debating. Because, again, I can't watch the stream while I'm streaming. It lags too much, so I'm going in blind when I'm going up against my competitors. So I was debating very strongly, but I felt that my pace was just that much better, that it was just safer just to keep doing what I was doing, because it was just a lot of fluky stuff that happened that race.
Okay, so you really didn't know where your opponent was. That's really what I was wondering.
Nah.
Didn't know. Okay.
I can't, like I said, I can't stream snipe. My computer can't handle that.
Well, interesting.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you've got... Okay, go ahead. Did you have a...
No. I was going to say nothing useful.
Okay.
Well, that's part of the course.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. Well, that's what the whole commentary is. We haven't said anything useful. But now we can say all kinds of useful stuff because we actually have one of the runners to talk to, and we're not just going to speculate.
Well, we had a conversation about every other game but Blaster Master.
We sure succeeded in that, yes. So you've SubStylee, you've done 2 matches so far, Kha'Zix and Xarnax. Had you seen either of those guys play before? Did you know what to expect from either of them?
I've seen Kha'Zix play, and I knew that he had some computer trouble, so he was a bit rusty when he came back into our match, but I knew that he's a decent player, that if I messed up like this match, he definitely could have took a round off of me, easy. Xarnax, not really. I mean, I knew that he just started running it just very recently, so I knew that he had a a grind ahead of him to get up to like the top tier level. But as we've seen in these races, anything can happen.
Yes, there's a lot of variation, a lot of really unexpected stuff. So yeah, even people who are have PBs that are a couple of minutes worse than their opponent can still win. It can happen.
Exactly.
All right, so you've got 2 more people to face in your group. You've got Big John and you have got Xarnax42. Do you know anything about either of those two as of last?
I knew Big John used to play the game a lot back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that he's been streaming it, so I'm assuming he's going to come out to play. We just need to get a match set up. Xarnax, I haven't seen streaming at all, so I have no clue what to expect from him.
I always catch him doing like RPGs, right? Isn't he the one who's doing the console RPG quest, like trying to beat all console RPGs? Or something?
Oh, that's him.
Is that
Oh, okay.
Oh, I hope I'm not confusing him with someone else. Wasn't that him?
Well, are we considering Blaster Master an RPG now, or we're not putting that?
It's a
in that
CarPG, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? No, I know that there is. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, there is. Is it Xarnax42 that's doing the?
I'm looking it up. I'm just trying to remember. Okay, but yeah, so that's what I was wondering, if you happen to know what to expect from either of those.
Like I said, I know they're going to bring it, and I'm sure they'll bring some great matches, but I'm pretty confident that I will take the wins in my bracket, and it'll be we're basically going to be seeing who's going to be the second guy to advance in the top 8 with me at this point.
That's what we were thinking as well, that you maybe already have enough wins to qualify, but probably with one more win, that's all you're going to need to be guaranteed your spot, and it's just going to be a matter of who comes with you.
I told you this guy was saucy, though. He'll trash talk him also. I mean, I know we try to keep it civil here, but if you let him
I'm trying to keep it PG.
Yeah, he might have some... You have anything nasty you want to say about your opponents? I mean...
Yeah, actually I do. I want to call out Big John for ducking me the last couple weeks.
Whoa.
Come on, boy. Let's get this going. We got a race to do.
See, we thought Shining Dragoon was the bad boy of Blaster Master Racing.
He is the bad boy. You seen that stuff he does? All those fancy tricks at the end?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So but the two of you, you'll be the face of Blaster Master when we do our advertising. We'll focus on the two of you.
That's right. Can we get like a UFC promo going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll film that. It'll be like Rocky, where they gotta fight each other before the match.
All right, nice. I'm Drago. He could be Rocky.
Yeah, you're as muscular as Drago, I think. So.
I know you've been checking me out. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, at any rate, is your you have your guest over watching you or no?
No, my brother's not in yet.
Okay, his brother was visiting him to cheer him on in his race, but I guess he's not there yet. So just in case you go back and watch the race and you're thinking that we're sort of ignoring you in commentary, I think that we wholly acknowledged, just like Fiesel just said, that we do obviously know that you're going to be moving on to the next part of the tournament. And, so I guess the narrative of this particular race was watching Xarnax and how he approached a lot of his tricks. But I hope you recognize
of course.
that. Yeah,
I understand that.
We also don't like you
as
as
much. The boring side.
Yeah, we don't like you as much either, so we want to pay attention.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, someone a little more personable than you, that's all.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Well, over here we have... your opponent here, Xarnax, is actually just finishing up the first form of this final boss here. Had a little bit of trouble getting the position, but once he locked into the spot there, he did fine with the grenade pause strats, and now he's going to use lower right corner strat here. The quote-unquote safe strat, but I don't even think this is particularly safe.
We were also saying, Sub, how Xarnax seems to know how to do everything. He just doesn't do them all in one race.
Oh, okay.
I I definitely think he's got it in him to do a sub 40.
Definitely.
If he puts it all together. But he'd get one skip and then mess up the next one and then get the second one, but, mess up the first one. So I think that when he's playing some of the other people in the in your group, we may see, pretty close, somewhat, closer races for sure.
Oh yeah, like I say, I know that my races are going to be the boring races, but everyone else in my bracket definitely a lot closer in skill level. So I'm sure we're going to see some exciting stuff come out of Group D.
Very modest of you to say.
You know, I try.
So are we gonna have Xarnax for?
He's here. We just gotta get him unmuted. There he is.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I hear you a little bit. You may have
Pretty
the
faint.
wrong device selected for the microphone.
Are you hearing a bad echo?
It's
No,
not an
that was-
echo. It's just quiet.
That was fine.
Hmm.
Oh wait, now I can hear you a little better.
Yeah,
Okay.
he sounds all right now.
It was just all good.
Probably just standing too far back.
Well, so yeah, how did you feel about this race?
Which one?
Okay, well yeah, let's take them separately because they are very different
Yeah.
outcomes. So how about the most recent race, the one that you just finished? What were your thoughts on that?
The second race, I lost. Once I missed the died on the crab room again. I kind of I wanted to go for I was debating up until Area 7. I was debating whether or not I wanted to go for the first skip or not. And then once I died in Area 5, I was like, I know I basically have a free PB. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I'm gonna get a little practice in, get a little.
What exactly is your PB?
What's that?
What exactly is your PB? Is it the 47 minutes?
Yeah, that first race was that was my 4th run that I've completed.
Because we were saying we think that you have it in you to really sort of get like a sub 40, sub 42 rather quickly, like within the next week if you have a little practice in.
I agree. My sum of best right now is about 39, and that's after 5 runs. So my goal in this tournament is probably to get it down to a 35.
So
That might be a little ambitious.
So what you're saying is though, if you race 25 times, you'll have a sub 15 or so, or is that what you're trying to tell us?
No.
Oh, well, maybe I just don't understand the game so well. But definitely, you were getting the tricks right, just not in the same race.
Yeah, basically, Scav's tutorial was phenomenal, and I watched most of it, and then really haven't had. I've been busy doing a lot of other things, and really just started practicing this game in the last week. And so I have save states for some of the areas. I think I heard you guys mention, in the first race especially, the mid game, 2, 3 through 6.
Yeah.
Is where I really need work, and that's where I've got the least practice. I don't even have save states for those areas yet.
So you're complimenting our accurate commentary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It definitely seemed like you knew what you were doing at first, and then a little bit dragging a little bit in the middle. And that's often the case. Is people will practice the heck out of certain rooms of Area 8, and they'll practice the heck out of the first couple areas of the game, just because you see those so much, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the obvious problems room I've practiced a lot more than all the little rooms where you can clip edges, or there's enemies that you don't know where they're gonna spawn. All that stuff is all the details, the finer points. I've got a lot of work to do on cleaning that up.
Have you done much practice with the Area 7 skip part 1, the first part of it? Because you were trying it a couple of times and then just eventually gave up on it. But is that something you generally do? Do you practice that and succeed?
Something I spent maybe an hour or two practicing it one day.
Okay.
And I got maybe 30% of the time.
Okay.
So yeah, it was basically just something to watch, I guess. Would have been fun if I had done it.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Once your opponent's already finished, then it's whatever. Just do what you think could be most interesting.
Yeah.
How you liking Final Fantasy VIII?
It's okay. I'm playing it blind. I'm just finished the first disc. I'm maybe a couple hours into the second. It's very different than any other Final Fantasy for sure.
Normally play just RPGs, or because I saw a lot of RPGs on your list.
I play RPGs on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. And then most of the time, I run play Zelda randomizer, Zelda 2 randomizer, and Dragon Warrior randomizer.
Got
So that's what I was going to ask. What is your main game, or what games would you say you speedrun the most besides Blaster Master? I mean, I see you play Zelda 1 a lot. Sure.
Yeah. I really don't. I don't think. I kind of I was speedrunning Zelda 1 for a while, and then I kind of plateaued and had a long time where I didn't get a PB, and then the randomizer came out, and I was having a lot of fun with that. And I haven't really had a game that I've been running since that came out. Like I said, there was the Zelda 2 tournament that I joined.
Yeah, you were in that.
Yep.
Well, now you got Blaster Master.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I actually want to ask SubStylee the same thing. Like, what besides Blaster Master? You're relatively new to Blaster Master, it seems. What were you doing before this?
Yeah. So primarily, the games I was running is Ninja Gaiden 2 and the Strider series, like Strider 2014 in particular, are
Do you
my
ever run
main
original
games.
Strider?
What's that?
Do you ever run Original Strider?
I have not completed a run of the Genesis Arcade, but all the other ones I do have a run in.
Okay, including when you do the NES version as well, right?
I've done the NES Strider 2 for PS1 and Strider Returns for Genesis. I think I'm the only one that was stupid enough to run that one.
Yes, you were the only one stupid enough. The only games that you're playing?
You know, as of right now, like I said, I picked up Blaster Master back in mid-November after watching like Fiesel, Scav, and Dragoon play it a lot.
Right.
So, and
no other ninja games, like arcade games that are like Strider?
Jeez, yes, I also play Osman every now and then.
Osman, right? I think I've heard of that one.
Yes, I know that you do. You hoard out whenever you can.
I do like Osman. It's
an interesting game. If people haven't seen it, you should check it out. The art style and story they're out there.
It's a very interesting game.
Are you doing the Ninja Gaiden 2 tournament?
I am. Yeah, I'm in that, so we'll see how I do there, but I don't expect to get very far.
But you do have a good time, right? You have close. What is your time?
I have a 10:38, which is a pretty good time, but the problem with Ninja Gaiden 2 is, like, say in Blaster Master, if you make small mistakes, it's not a big deal. Ninja Gaiden 2, if you make a small mistake, you've just derailed your whole momentum, and you're probably gonna die.
Well, what's the record in that?
I believe it's 10:07 by Jimmy Poopins. It's pretty insane.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's 5% off the record, even though you're only 30 seconds off the record.
It's a big 30 seconds, man.
Yeah. No, it's the equivalent of what? How much for Blaster Master? I can't figure it out, but over a minute, obviously, a minute and a half. So, yeah, about the equivalent of a minute and a half. So Fiesel, do we have 2 races tomorrow or 1? I think that there was some talk about that in chat.
2 races tomorrow? I thought I only saw 1. Maybe something new has come onto the schedule.
I don't know. They were talking about it, and some were saying 2 and some were saying 1. So I was curious if maybe you knew.
Popping Uranium Anchor got added as well. Okay, so looks like there are 2. We got a double race tomorrow evening.
Nice.
We don't have a layout for double Blaster Master. We may have to maybe Scribble Eye would be willing to wait a little later. So it's going to be me against Scribble Eye tomorrow.
As of right now?
Sorry, what?
They're playing concurrently right now, as of right now?
Yeah, they're both scheduled for the same time, but we'll see. We'll have to see. One of them will get bumped because I don't think we're going to be doing 2 Blaster Masters at once.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so tomorrow evening we're definitely going to have some Blaster Master for you. Earlier in the day we've got Link to the Past, and before that is Super Metroid. So tomorrow,
Pretty busy day.
It's a pretty busy day. 3 different games being run in tournaments.
Very good.
Well, so that's it for tonight's cast. We had a great match between SubStylee and Xarnax42.
You don't need to say
Scribble saying he can go later, by the way.
can go later. Well, I mean, we can just do one right after the other. It's just a matter of who's willing to wait.
Right.
I'll be there for all of them, so whatever.
Sounds good.
Okay, but yes, anyway, so this Group D match we had today, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of that as our Group D players are gradually moving into action here.
Took a long time, but we're getting there.
Yep.
Gonna be a lot of races this week.
Yep, there sure are.
Excellent. Very
Cool,
exciting
alright.
for fans.
Well, that's it. Make sure you follow these runners.
Congrats, SubStylee. Nice races.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Congrats on the PB, man.
Thanks.
Good job, both of you.
Thanks for streaming, commentating.
Yeah, thanks for the restream and the commentary.
Yep, thanks for joining
Diesel,
us.
great job. Dinah, well, you were there.
That's right. It would have been just silence if I wasn't here.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Alright.
I don't know why you get invited sometimes.
Nobody would even know who you are if it wasn't for me.
That is true. You
You're
do
lucky
pimp
I
me
was
out. I thank you for that.
That's it. Next time I'm not being nearly so nice. Huh?
All right. Catch you
Good
guys
night,
later.
everybody.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Okay, see ya.
Good night.